Welcome to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm Woody Zimmerman here with Mark Skibowski of Remaxlakes. Welcome to the show.
Here we are, morning.
Good morning. And let's see, I just got back from a travel baseball tournament in Kansas City. And so travel baseball's in full swing. Summer is here. And we had the Quiet Riot show.
Yes, you did.
That means, summer is here because we got the rock concert coming up. We got the country concert here in next month. Parks are just full of activities. And talking about Quiet Riot, raised $11,000 for the KC Rally Kids Fund.
That's amazing. That's a great charity.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely is for home. It's for Kosciusko County.
Yes, yeah, correct.
So get out and support it whenever, whether it's Riley Radio Days, any of these concerts, any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Supporting local. That's good for all of us. It's good for the community.
Absolutely.
Sad time that you've got to use it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's good that resource is available.
Yes.
So, kudos to Alan and Mike for putting that together to have that fun.
Yep. Yeah, it's awesome. And but that means that summer's in full swing, and also when summer's in full swing, the market is in full swing.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy again.
Yeah.
We got spoiled over the last, when I say we as agents, we got spoiled. There was no inventory.
Yeah.
And things were selling in a day.
Yeah.
To where, I quite honestly, I didn't have to work too many weekends.
Which was hey, man, you've been doing this for what, like 17, 18 years, and so you've given up a lot of weekends.
A lot of weekends.
So it's nice to have a few off.
It's nice to have a few off, but what we're starting to see is a little bit more inventory, especially around the lakes. In this area, that drives the activity on the weekend, at least for me personally.
Yeah.
It's been back to where a new listing will hit Friday, and you think you're going out of town. Well, guess what? We're not going out of town because you've got a show. It's a great life. Yeah. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Keep calling, right?
Yeah, right.
Saying, don't call me because I want my weekend off.
Yeah.
It's part of the game. It's part of what we do. So, but overall, there's a lot of media out there talking about home prices are falling and this, that, or the other thing. Just wanted to address that a little bit, not specifically with local numbers, because we'll hit stats again, but nationally, what's going on? Well, it all comes down to what are you comparing to? So if you're comparing to last year, home prices to last year, which they actually peaked. The numbers were about last June, was the max of the market. Mm-hmm. And then after that, and we've talked about that on the show, it's like, about July last year, it's like somebody turned the spigot off. Mm-hmm. And there was nothing going on. Well, what happened in the summer of 22? Interest rates. Yeah. Right? That's when inflation, which was, what do you call it, transitory, was the Fed's term. Inflation is transitory. It's not going to be a problem. Well, all of a sudden, guess what? Yeah. Inflation wasn't transitory. It was really going. We all saw prices go up on everything.
Big time. Yeah.
So what happened? Interest rates jumped, right? 7.5%.
Yeah.
Almost 8%. So the market just constricted. I mean, demand slowed dramatically, which ultimately led to decrease in prices. Mm-hmm. But if you're comparing home prices in June of 23 to June of 22, year over year, yes, they're lower now than they were in June of 22. They are. So it really comes down to time frame. What time frame are you comparing to? Okay. Are you comparing 2023 prices, this will be extreme, to 2013 prices?
Well, yeah, that's going to be huge.
Or are you comparing 2023 June to 2023 May? Mm-hmm. So month over month versus year over year or decade over decade.
Okay.
A lot of times when you look back, you'll see these car ads. And I mean, I'm a GTO guy, a Pontiac GTO.
Oh, man.
That was my dream car.
Yeah,
my dad had a 66 Pontiac GTO.
Yeah.
It was not a convertible, but that would be my dream, would be a 66 GTO convertible. Mm-hmm. But back in the 60s, you could buy that car for, $3,500.
Yeah.
So that was a very expensive car at that time.
Right.
But comparing the cost of a brand new, Cadillac today to a brand new Pontiac GTO, no, they're not the same, car, but just time frame.
Yeah.
$3,500 to what? I don't know what a caddy runs today. 65?
Yeah, I don't know.
70,
Yeah, right.
55. I don't know. A lot more than 3,500.
Sure.
So it really comes down to the time frame that you're looking at. So I guess the whole point, what I wanted to get across to the listeners today is pay attention to what they're saying and then get an idea on what the time frame is. So when you hear those media reports, when you hear that, look at the time frame.
But because we heard so many people say the market is going to crash.
Yes.
The market is going to crash. Well, it didn't crash.
Correct.
And you predicted that it would not crash.
Right.
Because you listed different scenarios. It's a different time frame again.
Yeah, right.
But 2008, 2009, during that time it did crash because of different things that banks were doing. They were lending
Right.
like 125% of the value of the home.
Yeah.
They're not doing that anymore.
Not doing it. There's restrictions on that.
Yeah.
There have been new regulations put out that have slowed down a lot of that. So, the other thing, they've been predicting a recession for how long?
Oh,
and
long
again,
time.
the
Yeah.
economic terms on a recession, I think it's three quarters or 3 periods of, stagnant or
Yeah.
declining. We haven't seen that.
No.
So prices haven't dropped dramatically on anything.
Mm-hmm.
What we have is we've seen a slowdown in the appreciation. So the Fed did the right thing by raising interest rates. It would have been nice if they'd have moved it a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting to where they had to. Maybe they could have cut it off a little bit before it got there. But the bottom line is the economy is still roaring. Unemployment is still at all-time lows.
Yeah, it's very low.
Right?
Yeah.
So as long as there is still good employment,
Mm-hmm.
there's still strong demand. People still need a place to live. So there's going to continue to be, a strong demand for housing. So home prices are not going to drop off dramatically anytime soon.
Okay.
I think people as they're pricing them, as they're going to sell, and after the break we'll talk about selling is now still a good time to sell.
Okay.
As long as you price it right, it may take a little bit longer to sell, but ultimately it will sell.
All right, so you're going to explain why on that. You're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm Woody Zimmerman here with Mark Skibowski of Remax Lakes, and we're talking about there was no crash. We talked about before the break. We talked about where we're at with pricing and so forth, and pricing of homes did come down a little bit, but now it's starting to inch back up.
Yeah, it is. So it inched down back for about 7 months. So
Okay.
June, July last year, up until March, April this year. Now we're starting to see home prices tick back up. But what does that mean if you're a seller?
Okay.
Well, it means you're not going to reap the benefits of what we had in 22,
Mm-hmm.
in that time period, not the all-time highs, but the fact is it's still significantly higher in all likelihood than what you paid for it. Even if you bought it in 20, you're probably selling now and still going to do okay on selling your home. It's not like you're going to sell it for less in 23 than you bought it for in 20.
Right.
In all likelihood.
No.
When I always counsel folks, what's your time frame? What's your why? When it comes to somebody buying.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you buying? What's your time frame look like? Are you looking at a year? Are you looking at 2 years? Because on average, in a normal market, home prices will appreciate 3 to 5 or 4 to 6, for a standard residential. So, by the time you go, okay, I bought it 1 year, the next year it went up 5%, the next year it went up 5%. I'm going to sell it. Well, I've got expenses related to selling,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Am I going to be upside down or am I going to make a little bit on it? In all likelihood, you're going to be okay. You're still going to do all right in selling, even if you bought just a short time period ago. So, and I think that's the piece that, we've always had, I don't want to buy now because prices are too high because I might lose money. What's your why? Why are you going to sell?
Right.
Why would you lose money in a market that is continuing to appreciate? Right?
True, right.
4 or 5% a year. Now, you may not make what people were making who bought in 18 and turned around and sold in 21
Right.
or in 22. Where we were talking off air about your first home where, you bought it for 80 something, you sold
Yeah.
it for 130,
Yeah.
not too many years later, and now that house is 240.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
in the
true.
same neighborhood.
Yeah, it's true.
Which is what we've been talking about, but the fact is, real estate is still a good investment. We have had one time since I've been alive that I can recall that was at 08, 09 to where we had home prices or home values decline dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
And as you mentioned before the break, there were a lot of factors that went into that.
Yeah.
There is no forecast. Of course, you never can forecast. Is that going to happen again? Well, it could. It's back to the Dumb and Dumber. Is there, well, you mean there's a chance, right? There's
right.
still a chance. There's always a chance.
Yeah.
There is. But if you look at the data, historically, that's an exception. That is not the norm. The norm is a good gradual appreciation in home values over time.
Mm-hmm.
So home ownership, it's still a good investment. So if you're thinking about selling now, what's your why? Why are you going to sell? I heard a statistic this week. Redfin did a survey. 92% of the mortgages that are out there are under 6%.
Okay.
Under 6%. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people aren't going to sell right now. Why would you trade a 3% mortgage
Right.
for a 6.5% or 7% mortgage? If you could sell your house and make enough and pay cash for something, why not? That's a great deal.
Yes.
But if you're selling and you're going to pay a higher rate, why would you sell? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Change in job,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe you want to downsize. You want to take the expenses out of that, 3,000 square foot property
Mm-hmm.
you've been living in, and maybe your kids are up and grown. You can go into a 12 or 1,300 square foot house and be just fine.
Right.
So you change the operating expense, the cost of maintaining the $3,000 or 3,000 square foot house, to the 1,200 square foot house. Downsizing, that I just mentioned. Change in family situation. You had another baby.
Mm-hmm.
You had a baby, or you adopted a baby.
Right.
You've added to your family.
Right.
So you need a bigger house.
Or
would you not, sell because you wanted to do something you wanted to do? You needed it. You wanted to be on a lake. Your whole life you've worked to be on a lake. Financially, you can now afford it, and you want to be on a lake. Why wouldn't you take that leap?
Yeah.
Even though interest rates are still bordering that 7%.
or even working from home. A lot of people are doing that now. So
working from home.
they need that extra bedroom for a home office.
Right. Or change in job situation. You're not going to work from home, but you need to relocate.
Yeah.
Right? All those things go into the whys of selling. Bottom
Mm-hmm.
line, for sellers, the market is still good. There is still strong demand. We are going to see the days on market continue to increase,
Okay.
to go up. They're not going up to 6 months, but until sellers start pricing more closely to where the market is today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I've got a couple listings, we've done the same thing. Hey, let's try.
Yeah.
Right? Let's try to take advantage of the market. If it doesn't sell, we need to reduce that price, because every house is sellable.
Yeah.
It just, at what price is that house sellable?
But
that's ultimately what it comes to.
And check those comps.
Check the comps. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Do your homework. Work with that agent and set your price right, and your home will sell. There's still strong demand.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. If you have any questions, make sure you call this guy, Mark Skibowski. Your contact information?
Sure. It's website, skibowskiteam.com. I'll give you my cell phone. You can reach out to 574-527-0660. You can call or text that number. Happy to help whoever.
Okay. All right. Very good. You've been listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Have yourself a wonderful weekend.